Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Andrea Berta is doing some serious genius work at Arsenal this summer, and a couple of clubs around Europe are reporting aggression and energy from the new sporting director. Of course, according to multiple reports, Arsenal have already done 2 deals before the window opens, and that is the work of Andrea Berta. And it's being reported that Andrea Berta is forcing a couple of clubs, Barcelona, Newcastle, Aston Villa, to look at other targets other than the ones they intended, because Arsenal wanted them to, and Arsenal have done more work than them since Andrea Berta arrived. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. In this video, we'll be diving into how Andrea Berta has done 100 million in terms of deals before the window opens. We'll talk about the players he's signed. We'll talk about the deals that he has done a lot of groundwork on, forcing other clubs away, and most importantly, the comments of Mikel Arteta on Andrea Berta. He loves him. He really loves him. He really trusts him. And he says everything is aligned. Whichever player Arsenal are trying to sign, it is aligned between Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta as a manager. Hit the like button. Let's get into it. So Andrea Berta has been here for about 4 months, and Arsenal have already done their first 2 deals of the summer. Obviously, he got some help on the Martin Zubimendi deal. About 51 million is what we'll be spending, but he came in and that deal was already done. What he did was to make sure that the likes of Real Madrid that are trying to make that deal happen, the likes of Barcelona that are also trying to sabotage the deal, don't get any chance. And by the time it was April, it was reported already by Fabrizio and the Athletic by David Stein that Martin Zubimendi is a done deal. So what Andrea Berta did there, he came in because Arsenal have got this trail of losing deals that we think are already done. I don't want to go into the history, but you know the deals that Arsenal feel like it's a done deal, and all of a sudden another club comes in and gets the deal done. So Andrea Berta made sure that that is not going to happen, and that's why many clubs are reporting a lot of aggression, and they're reporting a lot of energy from the new sporting director at Arsenal. They're saying the guy is using a lot of aggression on deals to agree deals and to make sure that players join his club over others. So the first deal was the Martin Zubimendi deal, and although he had help, he actually came in and sealed that deal. The second deal is a deal that was a little bit more difficult than the Martin Zubimendi deal, and this is the Victor Gyökeres deal. Arsenal are well ahead. Arsenal have everything in place to sign Victor Gyökeres, and this is all thanks to Andrea Berta. Now, you've got to remember, when Arsenal are bringing in Andrea Berta, the first task was, can you get us a striker? You've done a lot of striker targets in the past. Can you identify? Can you convince us of one striker, and then can you get one in? That was the job that Andrea Berta had to do. And when he came in at Arsenal, we had a couple of ramshackle targets that we wanted. We looked at Benjamin Sesko, and we had done a lot of groundwork on that one. And we had the likes of Hugo Ekitike, Brian Buemo, and a couple of other strikers that Mikel Arteta and Edu wanted and were working on. So why the Victor Gyökeres deal was a little bit difficult is internally, Victor Gyökeres was not looked at as an option. He was only considered as an option for a striker only when Andrea Berta came in. So he had to convince Arsenal, he had to convince Mikel Arteta and the others that, look, the targets that you want are not that bad. The likes the Watkins of this world, the Sheskos of this world are not bad, but Gyökeres is a player that we need to look at in terms of the financial details of the deal, but also in terms of helping the team win games and score a bit of more goals. So that was not going to be easy, because we know Mikel Arteta is a stubborn manager, but he managed to do that, and he got a green light from Mikel Arteta to go ahead and press ahead and do that deal. And of course, it wasn't going to be easy with the Victor Gyökeres deal. Of course, the player has an agreement with Sporting that if anyone comes in for with about 60 to 75 million pounds, you can let him go. But this is a good deal, and so many clubs were always going to be around here. Actually, last summer, it was reported that Chelsea had done some groundwork on this deal, so were Newcastle. And I was very, very surprised that Newcastle and Chelsea were not actually going back. It was reported earlier in January that Tottenham, and a couple of other clubs were really interested in Victor Gyökeres. And if you look at the reports coming out of Portugal and coming out of Europe as well, not like in the Big Five, if you think about those reports, they're only talking about Arsenal. It's just Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal. And the question I've been asking myself is, where are the other teams that we were told want Victor Gyökeres? Where are these teams? It turns out that Andrea Berta has suffocated teams and they're having to renegotiate their own transfer strategy. They're having to rethink their own transfer strategies because Arsenal have come into the market with a lot of aggression and a lot of energy. So the Victor Gyökeres one is one I'm going to give a lot of credit to him. He has beaten competition. He has changed the minds of people inside Arsenal. And of course, he has also negotiated a deal with Victor Gyökeres and his camp. That was never going to be easy. He's a player that is really on top of his game, right? 95 goals in 100 appearances. That's the kind of guy that everyone is going to want. So it was not going to be easy arguing personal terms, convincing him to join a project like Arsenal's. It wasn't going to be easy, but he has done that. And that is why he is a top guy in terms of what he does. Now, the teams that are reporting aggression and the teams that are reporting, energy, I think there is a shift in Arsenal's transfer strategy. And if you think about Arsenal before, have we really signed players before the window opens? I think it was, I can remember Thomas Rosicky was signed before the window opened. And a couple of maybe free agents, right? But Arsenal's transfer strategy has been a ramshackle scandal of, can we sign players on deadline day? Are we going to bring anyone on deadline day? Every single time we get into the final week of the transfer window and there is something missing. Every single window, by the time we open up, we do not have a clear strategy apart from the last maybe 3 years. So Andrea Berta comes in and all of a sudden, Arsenal know what they want concretely, right? They want a striker and they want Šeško or Victor Gyökeres. They want a winger, Rodrigo, Williams, Oliao, or Semenyo, right? Any of those options. They want a midfielder, Martin Zubimendi, or no one else. They want a left back, Milos Karkes, Gerard Hatzo, Ren Enori, and the guy at Chelsea. So that shows you that Andrea Berta has already changed a few things at this football club in terms of how we approach transfers, but also in terms of how we deal in the market as a club. You cannot be bullied when you're Arsenal. I mean, you must fight for players like Zubimendi. You must fight if you're gonna get players like Victor Gyökeres, because these are the best of the best. These are the best of the rest, and these are the best of the bunch. If you're gonna get them, it means it's gonna be a struggle. Other clubs are also gonna get them. I want to point something out to you. I want you to think about the last 10 years and think about the strikers that Chelsea has signed and think about the strikers that Arsenal have signed. So in the last 10 years, Chelsea have had Fernando Torres, they've had Nicholas Jackson, I mean, regardless of what you think about him, they've had Diego Costa, right, as a number 9, they've had Romelu Lukaku. I don't know how many times they've had Romelu Lukaku as their number 9 in the last 10 years, but we shall just count Romelu Lukaku, right? So they've had Romelu Lukaku as well. I don't remember the others, right? I don't remember the others, but those 4, right, really stand out. And I think they did sign Alvaro Morata at some point in time. They also brought in Alvaro Morata. If you think about the strikers that Arsenal have had in the last 10 years, we've had Aubameyang, we have had Lacazette. Lacazette was not a success. Aubameyang was a success. We have signed Gabriel Jesus, not a success. We have had Edin Ketia, not signed, he was from the academy, not a success. We have signed Javino Yaukase, Javino in the last 10 years, part of the Arsene Wenger era. We have signed, Chelsea have always been going for the best of the rest, right? They've been going for real quality. And Arsenal, we are okay with average standard. That is what Andrea Berta is trying to change. He's saying, let's go for the best players out there. Don't be intimidated. Don't try to sell the dream that Šeško is a top-class player because you're afraid of going for Victor Gyökeres. Go for Victor Gyökeres. Be aggressive. Let Sporting know that you're serious, and let them know that all the other clubs that are interested, Arsenal is there. And he's done that very well, and I think it's helping the club. Now, there have been a few reports as well that there is kind of friction between Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta, especially when it comes to players. And this has been coming from the fact that Mikel Arteta came in, coming into this summer, Mikel Arteta wanted Alexander Isak, and Andrea Berta coming in, he wanted Victor Gyökeres. And Mikel Arteta has actually said this very well. He said, we are very, very aligned in terms of what we're trying to do, in terms of the players we want. We are fully aligned. Andrea Berta wants to make us better, and is a very driven guy and very clear in the vision and how he wants that vision to be accomplished. So I want to clarify this as well. I don't think Andrea Berta has come in and told Mikel Arteta, you want, and whoever is running the show before Andrea Berta came in, you want Victor Gyökeres? Sorry, you want Alexander Isak and Chesko? Bullshit. I think he's come in and he has used data and he has used his experience and he has used his, position as sporting director the way a good sporting director would use his position. And he has told them, look, this is how you've been doing things, and this is why you're not winning. And it's a bit pitiful, but that's the truth. Arsenal's way of doing things is the reason as to why we have not been winning. So he's told them, if you're still going for a Benjamin Sesko, who you do not know whether it's gonna come and score goals, you're gonna end up having yourself another Marouane Chamakh. You're gonna end up having yourself another Olivier Giroud, right? Why don't you go out there and get an established number 9? So I don't think there is friction between Arsenal, Arsenal decision teams. I don't think there is friction between Berta and Mikel Arteta. I think both of them advise each other. Arteta is a little bit aggressive, but Andrea Berta is a little bit aggressive as well. And of course, we know he's been working with Diego Simeone. If he has been working with Diego Simeone and he's been advising Diego Simeone, and these guys have 2 La Liga titles in the last about 10 years. At the same time, when Madrid have been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, at the same time when you have to compete with Madrid and Barca and the likes of the little Sociedads and the little Atletico Bilbao's, he must be good, right? He must be good in terms of communicating his ideas. He must be good in terms of drawing up visions and implementing them. So, Andrea Berta will work for Arsenal, and he's already shown the signs. But these are the deals where clubs have been taken aback, where clubs have been blown out of proportion just by Andrea Berta getting to work on the deals. The number one is the William Saliba deal. So Madrid thought they could approach us the way they approached Liverpool, played a full of Liverpool for about a year or a year and a half until they got one of their best players on a free. Andrea Berta came in and he told William Saliba, I'm giving you a new deal. Are you committed? Do you want to stay? And Saliba's like, I don't have a problem. I want to stay. I love this place. And I think with Andrea Berta, we have a guy that knows that players' deals, once they're in the last two years, are difficult. And he's already working very, very quickly on the Magalhaes deal. He's already working on the Saliba deal. He's already working on the Saka deal, right? So Madrid came into this summer thinking there might be an opportunity for us to hook William Saliba and maybe give Arsenal about 70 or 80 million and get the deal done. Andrea Berta has made sure that that is not possible. As I speak, Madrid have looked at another option in Dean Huyson, and the deal is done. So that is one club that had William Saliba as a priority, and they had to rethink because of Andrea Berta. The second one is Madrid still on Martin Zubimendi. So it's true, Xabi Alonso wanted Martin Zubimendi at Real Madrid. And Arsenal had done some work on this deal, but Madrid were feeling it's possible to go and sabotage the deal. Andrea Berta, once again, just making sure that Real Madrid are not getting anywhere close to Martin Zubimendi. Deal done. The third one is the Victor Gyökeres one, and obviously we've talked about the Victor Gyökeres deal. Chelsea, Tottenham, all were very interested, and they were thinking for about 60 million, you can go and do the deal. Berta was like, to hell with that, you're not getting him. Of course, you have the Saka deal. He came in and sped up the things. You have the Nico Williams deal. The Nico Williams deal, I don't know whether it's going to happen, but he has really shown what a good sporting director has got to do. Talked to the representatives about 2 times, sold the vision of the club to the player, and now we're waiting for final feedback. And of course, he has also been a little bit aggressive with the Rafa Leao deal, right? He went in there, talked to them. Let's see if we can get that one done too. But the other 2 deals that he has been aggressive on in terms of cancelling them has been the Benjamin Sesko deal and the Joan Garcia deal. So with the Joan Garcia deal, he's told Mikel Arteta, I want you to focus on areas of priority. We can get Joan Garcia, but we can spend good money on other areas, on areas of priority. You don't need to spend 22 million on a new goalkeeper. There are better goalkeepers, there are good goalkeepers out there, and you can get one for less than 22 million. So the Joan Garcia deal, he's coming and told Mikel Arteta, you're obsessed with Joan Garcia, but you don't have to be. The second one is the Benjamin Sesko deal, because and I love Berta for this. He comes in and he's looking at Sesko, 90 million. Guy is scoring 14 goals and it's 90 million. He's like, don't even think about it. So Andrea Berta, first 2 deals done, working on others, and he has really established Arsenal in this transfer market. I hope it's a successful one, really.